find your niche. Of course, it is a trial and error process, but the moment you find a niche, go deep into it, double down on it. Building specialization is one biggest lesson learned.
Are you content in your business? I'm Si McMahon, and I'm on a mission to help business leaders and brand owners succeed through sharing stories, advice, and inspiration. This is the Content in Business podcast. Welcome to Content in Business, the place where stories, advice, and inspiration is shared by me and my guests to help your business succeed. Today, I'm with CK, the CEO of Incepteo Group, providing digital and AI transformation services for businesses. Hi, CK. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
It's great to have you on the show. I think, first of all, tell us more about Incepteo and the journey so far.
Absolutely. And pleasure to be here. Simon, thank you very much. And Incepteo, it's been about 17 years in the journey, and it came from our background and the kind of experiences we had in both corporate world, but also in building startups. That's what we did. So we used to call them not like startup now, but they were businesses with the software product focus. And the best practices and lessons learned from those experiences is what brought us to kind of come together and say, hey, why don't we kind of extrapolate that, both in helping customers, but also helping ourselves in the business. So yeah, that's how it evolved. And we're now a group of few aspects of the business. So basically, we're a group with a services business that is helping other customers with a detailed, thorough methodology of what we call advisory and discovery and design first approach. So basically, we don't get into rush. We don't rush into writing code or developing technology without a deeper understanding of the vision of the customer and their business and the direction they are taking. And that has been phenomenal in terms of results that it has produced for us, 100% success, which is very unusual in the industry we are in. And the other side, we have a kind of venture studio where we build our own startups. We did build 5 startups so far, our own, and exited few. And obviously a couple lessons learned as well, which we can talk about. But basically, so we're a combination of a company that does help mid to large customers with digital and AI services and solutions. On the other side, we have a venture studio where we build our own startups, and we also help participate with other founders in building their startups.
Okay, so I mean, in AI is obviously really, really hot topic at the moment, and it covers so much. I mean, obviously, there's so many existing platforms out there. In terms of the AI focused efforts that you work on, is that very custom to like custom solutions for people, or is it best practices on how to use, or what's the kind of application generally?
I think AI is reality of life now. I think there's a lot of hesitation, and obviously people are progressing into embracing it now. However, a lot of companies, whether it is a large corporate or a mid-sized company or even a startup, they are aware of generative AI and generally GPT and other solutions, but they don't know how to operationalize AI in the processes beyond just copywriting or editing or marketing use cases. So we come in, we look at a discovery workshop, and we conduct a discovery workshop and look at their business workflows and identify areas where we can give the business a 30% of uplift in productivity and efficiency. Because AI can be very efficient. AI can be very quick in achieving things. But we don't dramatically say, hey, we're going to replace everybody with AI. I think it's a kind of false both scare and also promise to the businesses. I think AI is augmenting technology, which kind of complements humans to be more productive and efficient, and so that they have better work-life balance. In my view, that is one big outcome that AI should bring. But second element is obviously do a more detailed job of what humans must do, which is like the humanizing the output and making it more efficient and appropriate. So that's what we do. We'll kind of conduct a discovery workshop, look at the workflows, identify areas where we can bring in AI to complement and augment human capacity.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. There's an approach from a lot of people that is using AI to replace people or to remove the need for certain functions or and I mean, I certainly feel that that's not the case. That's AI. I feel like it's no different from any other technological innovation. Is that it's to enhance, isn't it? It's all about enhancement. It's all about efficiency. It's all about being able to do better using the right tools.
No, absolutely. I think, I mean, if you think of any technology, technology brought advantages, but also risks. But in solving the risks or mitigating the risks and addressing the risks, you use the same technology as well. Like police are chasing thieves on the cars, they use cars, and both the other party also uses the car. I mean, car is essential for both parties, but you don't deny the technology altogether, right? You embrace, but there'll be obviously negative players who will use the technology for wrong purposes. But the capacity that AI brings is going to uplift almost across the board, all sectors, all industries. It is going to bring productivity, which is, I think, a great thing. We don't have to do redundant things anymore, and we all can be, basically immensely productive and efficient. However, the reach of AI is limited to a tiny proportion of population. So there'll be a lot of people who will be left out, and it will be unfair to them. Hence, I think AI has to become more and more available. Like phones are now available to everyone, and they're usable. So AI has to be more and more available so that everybody can use it, and it doesn't have to feel like a big skill to learn. And number two is computing power, and the rest of it associated with it has to be sustainable and should not cause huge harm to the planet and rest of it. So I think there are certain cautions to be taken for everyone, but I think generally AI can be a great thing in my view, and there's a lot of excitement in various sectors around it.
I think that also there's a lot of that you're talking about, say, the phone being accessible for everyone. And of course, it's very accessible for people to use and not really get wrong, or use their phone in a wrong way or something like that. These things have got to the point where they're very intuitive. And at the moment, I guess, what I sense is there's a risk that, for instance, in terms of content generation or ideas generation, a lot of the time, it's rubbish in, rubbish out. If AI performs poorly, it's usually because it's not being fed the right information or used the right way to begin with. And I can imagine, I guess having custom solutions or things that are set up, with the right inputs or development is going to enhance the outputs that AI can provide.
Yeah, data is a big problem. Yeah, everybody's talking about it. How do we cleanse data, prepare data, so that it is basically very high quality input to the AI, so that whatever it produces is qualitative. And again, data cleansing, we are using AI models for that as well, and refinement, we are using AI. But I think, one must be careful, obviously. I don't know if you heard of the good example where the chatbot visitor was able to convince to sell a car for £1 or something on the is it one of the American car manufacturer
Yes,
or
yes.
dealer site. So those things we will all learn from the experiences, and I'm sure we can perfect them.
Yeah, it was a like a chatbot, wasn't it? An AI chatbot that someone managed to haggle with down to $1 or something.
I know. But that's where we are approaching. So basically, what we give is not public AI. So we deploy in the customer's own cloud instance and customize it for them. That's one area. But apart from this, in our own ventures, we have two solutions. One is AI App Gallery, which is more of an enterprise suite of products. May it be sales and support chatbots and data processing, image processing, document processing, translation solutions. Number of use cases in those areas. It's more of a platform that we built, which enables us to kind of quickly implement solutions for our customers. We don't have to write it from ground up. Second is we're busy building and launched last week in a beta stage, which is an AI assistant, productivity assistant for everyone generally, but down the line, I want to specialize it for business leaders and founders and CEOs of small to medium businesses, because I'm passionate. I'm one of those. I'm passionate about my fellow business owners and, like people like you and me who have limited resources, but unlimited ambition. And if we can enhance their productivity and our work-life balance, and also the efficiency in which they manage their workspace, it can have major positive ripple effect on the economy as well. Because at the end of the day, small to medium businesses are largest employers in the world, and we know all our lives are full of chaos and uphill journey. So that's another startup as well. So AI is everywhere in what we do at the moment.
Right, absolutely. And so obviously you've talked about the various functions of the group. So I'm assuming there's quite a bit of a journey that you've been on there. What's the journey been like, and has it been what you've expected so far, how you thought it would go?
Sure. No, interesting question. I don't know how far we can go, but I think at a summary level, I've started my journey as a kind of tech entrepreneur. I've come from technology background, both coding and then leading large scale projects, worked for large companies like Dell, Walt Disney, DHL, Cable and Wireless. But then my passion lied in design and user experience. And I would treat the whole thing as a piece of art. For me, coding or software you develop is not only a piece of engineering, but it's also a piece of art. I think I kind of evolved from building products and slowly recognized that need exists in generally other areas as well, and ventured into services as well. The journey involved in huge learnings, from scaling from zero to multi-million businesses almost 5 times and exiting 3 businesses, working on my own, on the sleepless nights and struggles that I go through on my own, to working with partners and positively making progress, both on my own and also with partners. And also challenges of being alone and challenges of working with partners. So there's collectively a lot of learning. In my view I think I would classify my learnings into 2 buckets. One is the service business and another one is the product journey or venture journey. I think in the service business, a lot of people that I know have started or starting service business. One of the biggest temptation is to be generalist. You do everything that you come across, because you want to be able to survive and basically make some money and be around to evolve the business, hopefully. But the challenge with that is that basically being very generalist and trying to do multiple things distract in a big way. And that has been the biggest mistake I've done in the initial days when I started services. So my biggest learning and suggestion to anybody starting a service business is find your niche. Of course, it is a trial and error process, but the moment you find a niche, go deep into it, double down on it. And of course, at the same time, if you want to have a backup plan B, plan C, keep figuring out another niche 2, niche 3. However, just because you're not sure, don't be very widely open and keep doing everything. So that's biggest building specialization is one biggest lesson learned on the services side of things. And I'm more of a creator. I'm not an operator. So I needed help from my colleagues. And a lot of, I think, biggest progression that I've done is being able to recruit senior leadership. But that is also uphill. It's a learning. There's a learning curve in that process as well. A lot of companies, entrepreneurs do everything on their own, and whenever they need to recruit senior people, there are apprehensions. Are they going to deliver like me? I mean, there's no single replacement for a CEO or a founder. You always end up recruiting 10 people or 5 people to do the same job. However, that specialization helps your organization to grow and build systems and processes. So that's one thing I did, recruiting senior management. And then eventually, I think focus on processes and building culture is equally important. Your focus on sales and delivery, whatever you're trying to do. People, after all, make your company and brand. The other important thing that I think through and through all my ventures I focused on is anything that you build, mainly tech entrepreneurs, think that their piece of technology is the greatest asset in their company. In my view, the greatest asset is the brand that you build and the experience that you give to your customers. They don't care how cool and smart your technology behind the scenes. They don't open the box. For them, it is the experience and the brand. So start with brand definition and design, and those brand characteristics, attributes, whatever you define, and then ensure that you reflect those values and those the kind of brand identity that you defined. So those are my kind of general take on the services. Maybe a little bit longer answer on the startups, but the venture side of things, so that product journey that I've done, B2B SaaS is my niche, and I think it is very heavily competitive and congested space at the moment. However, I think in that area, biggest lessons learned, and I would share is that your customer is not looking for 1,000 features. They only want you to solve 4 or 5 problems very efficiently. So a lot of us get tempted and get into this indefinite feature development process because we like the process of creating, but I think that can be a biggest trap and sinkhole for all the money and resources that you have. So defining MVP and also selling before you actually build, through surveys and through landing pages or whatnot, and trying to sell yourself and learn from that experience is very, very important. And the other thing is obviously fundraising, requires a lot of effort and time, allocate enough time and raise funds, and then the obvious challenge in the market is how do you scale? So seek help, get advisors, create a board, and bring the talent and experience, and be a listener as much as you are a talker. So you may have a lot to say to the world, but you have to constantly listen and interpret and take those actionable items away and implement and take the feedback again. Those cycles are very, very important. And the feedback may come from your employees, customers, and advisors, anybody in the world. And so it's just that learning process. So yeah, that's in summary, I guess.
I think, there's so many great points that you made there. I think the 2 themes that really stand out for me is one is focus. I think, you talk about niching down, being focused on a specific service or a specific market, a specific customer, specific messaging, really kind of dialing in and absolutely, focus in anything is where you get best performance, we get best results. And it is very, very easy to try and diversify. I think on a business level, in terms of, trying to appeal to multiple audiences, trying to, provide a number of different services, which can dilute your core value, through to the job of a entrepreneur, which does pretty much start out as everything: your finance, your HR, your product development, your marketing, and so, getting to a point where you can focus on your true core value. And then, focusing your messaging, you start to, it's so easy for brand owners to want to say so much about their product or service and what it does and all the features, and actually, what is the actual core benefit, the real, itch that it's what you provide scratches for a customer. But I think the second point is, I think communication, and, like you say, about the team, about the culture, communicating your service and things. And also, I think, when there's so many, again, mistakes that an entrepreneur makes. One of the mistakes that an entrepreneur can make is when they need help. Obviously, budgets are tight, and they've got this kind of natural need to kind of make sure everything's under control and keep their eye on things. So the first hire or first few hires will generally be lower level, like it's an assistant or it's a support in some way, just to pick up certain bits. But that actually adds more work into the mix rather than makes it easier, and something that Rob, CEO of Playfair, always says is when he had to make his first hire, he just hired the best person that he could find at that time. And because he needed somebody who could lift some of the weight and not have to, take more burden. So it was, that was a really, really great piece of advice he got. And suddenly he's kind of doubled his capacity to work, but equally being able to focus down on that niche role and message.
I think one of the things, like you're spot on. A lot of times entrepreneurs think, hey, it is going to be a lot more hard work trying to teach all these people what to do. And I can't obviously, recruit a magical, very expensive replacement for myself, and it's not possible while you're going through the chicken and egg of the cash flow and, budget and revenue and what is feasible. But I think a combination always worked for me, and which is recruiting, junior talent, interns and juniors. It's fulfilling as well. Everybody needs an opportunity in life, and if you're able to give that opportunity to people through your, company or the platform that you created for yourself and others, it's fantastic experience. And there are really brilliant people out there. And number two is, once you got to a level of traction, created progress, and you're able to deliver through them, immediately creating management layer and senior leadership layer on top is also very, very important. Because I think that we get into the trap of, the kind of fear of spending a lot of money in recruiting senior people is something that we all go through in the smaller business environment. But if you don't have experienced people, then you are trapped and you are not able to do what you want to do or what you can obviously deliver for the business. So both are very, very important, I guess. And then I think one of the things that you mentioned is the focus. And I would also add the word consistency. It's so painful sometimes to having to do same thing every day, with the rigor and focus. I think that consistency, like anything else in life, is going to be a high demand in the entrepreneurial journey. Maybe like, typical day of mine is split between, in the morning, like kind of creating my own, planning my own day a little bit, and spending time on lead gen and marketing, and sales, and talking to my management team, talking to my fundraising exercise, and building my own CEO's office in a way, small team around me. That's been in progress. So there are a lot of things that I have to do. But at the same time, every day I have to spend required time and give those areas a focus to be able to get to where I want to. And that consistency is very, very important. And that is an essential element of building something that lasts longer.
Yeah. Again, communication as well. You touched on it there again. Updating and conversation. Again, that it's obviously something that runs through the business. And so, what's the vision for the company? What's the? Obviously, you've got the different functions, and that is there a overall vision for the group, or?
So basically, we have different elements that are growing organically and naturally, but we want to accelerate them. So basically, Incepteo Technologies is the services business, and I guess we are at a stage we have enough momentum and traction to build it as a standalone business with its own vision and management team and strength. And I would probably take a kind of a slight step back to less operational and more strategic role in that. And we're looking at putting required funds and enhancing the overall capacity and resourcing around it to bring that maturity and grow to a sizable revenue and strength as an organization. And on the venture studio, we're partnering with investors, seed investors mainly, to be able to bring the right amount of investment. And with our know-how of, we typically reduce our startups' time to market, from idea to market, by 1/3. And that's our strength, because we have done so many times, and we have good ecosystem and resources around us, and mainly B2B SaaS and marketplaces and apps and stuff. We have done it almost 50 times for our customers, and 5 times for our internal startups. So hence we are looking at making the venture studio more stronger with a backing and strong relationship with select few investors. And we are observing the space, and we have a lot of aspiration around certain sectors that we want to go deep. So we want to be able to give our investors an exit every 2-3 years, and we want to give our founders a more rapid and accurate success model in how they roll out and take their product from idea to market. And we want to be, in a bigger picture level, we want to be a company that enables ideas and unleashes potential. Made for ideas and people, and contribute back to society in every way possible. So the aspiration in the next 3 to 5 years is to be a $1 billion group. That's the aspiration, and we're working in multiple ways. And the important thing is obviously attracting right investors and attracting right leadership and talent.
It sounds like you've got a fantastic track record, and the kind of the vision that you had to start out with is certainly taking shape. What do you think are some of the challenges going forward that you're going to have to deal with, kind of getting to that vision?
Challenges is, I think most of the times I keep telling my wife and my friends is that I think most of the obstacles are within me, not in the world. I have to change and evolve. and learn to detach and learn to attach to new things quite quickly. And I think it's slightly spiritual in a way to be able to see the bigger picture and lay out a new kind of routine and plan for myself. But I'm fortunate and gifted in a way that I have really trusted colleagues and friends in both personal life and professional life. I'm kind of gifted with people that help me and enable me to do what I do. I was just in a call with one of a good customer who became a good friend. She is trying to help me raise funds at the moment. So, it's all about relationships end of the day, but the discipline that I need to build around myself and the team that I need to build around the kind of nerve center, what I call the group CEO's office, is going to be quite critical. But some of the innovation that we are bringing in attracting talent is working very well. And this is something I would share with everyone. After the COVID, we kind of started recruiting what we call remote employees. So we have team in Portugal and South Africa, and I'm talking to a couple of people in Texas and Midwest and Singapore, India. We want to be, we have a big tech talent in India, no doubt. That's the background, the cultural background and the connection that I have. However, I want to be able to get to a place where we have 50% of workforce globally spread. And that diversity and that talent is going to add a lot of value to the company, and we'll be able to think more kind of innovatively and globally through that process. So I think that's how it is. A level of change in me, a level of change in the way we attract talent, but also very importantly, biggest lesson learned in the past is not having a CFO, for example, not having a kind of growth marketeer, someone like yourself, or that kind of people who bring innovation in the marketing area. So I would like to make sure that I have senior talent in the board, at the board level, and personally mentors for myself as well and my senior colleagues. I strongly believe in coaching and mentoring and having, a coach or mentor around us. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And hopefully we'll be able to put it all together in the near future.
It's funny that you mentioned, you touched on a little bit on the personal side there, and a little bit of a curveball from my usual line of questioning, but I was interested, you obviously seem very driven. You've got a real clear vision for what you want to achieve. I can see that there's a lot of passion there. Where does that come from? Is that, certainly it feels like it's sparked from somewhere.
I think I'm born and raised in rural India. My father was a kind of teacher and educator. Later on, he kind of became a professor, teaching other teachers. I've grown up in India when everyone would wake up and start looking at how to better their life, and the aspiration in the atmosphere is huge. And I think that's one thing that definitely helped me in a gathering momentum and having that huge aspiration for life. But I think my father is biggest inspiration, and of the day he's achieved immense progress for himself, but also been very responsible for the family and wider society. There was always a coffee table discussion about what are we contributing to the society, not just what are we taking from the society. And the UK, it's been 24 years now. It's been fabulous. And this is home now. And, in India, we have a concept of your cultural home, cultural motherland, and your spiritual motherland, and your kind of action, karma bhumi, what we call, where you perform. That is another kind of motherland. So this is where we execute and act on life, and we have cultural motherland, which is India, and spiritual motherland also with India. So the another passion of mine is to be able to bridge India and UK in a big way for the future, because there's immense amount of potential there. but not leveraged as much. And so I'm part of the couple of business groups which are trying to bring both startups, universities, and also corporates. There's a lot of action at a higher level, but I think SME level and startup level, there is a lot of potential. And India is a big market for UK, innovative companies in the UK. So yeah, aspiration wise, I think it is come from the upbringing. It has come from the society I was born, but also it was enabled by the environment that I'm living in at the moment, both what is happening globally, in tech space, in the business sphere. We have immense amount of challenges, but at the same time, I think if you look carefully, there are a lot of opportunities.
It's I love that how you've got the kind of spiritual side, your spiritual home, the motherland. I think that's fantastic, and because then, like you say about obviously in the UK, there's the opportunity side of it, isn't there? So that's where you can act. But I think it's really interesting to hear, like you said, about there's a lot of appetite and there's a lot of ambition, where you grew up, and that kind of approach of bridging the two locations. But clearly, like you say, if there's a hunger and a thirst over here and there's a need over here, it absolutely makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is we are fortunate to be in the times where world is one together in a way. We are able to quickly recruit people in South Africa, Portugal, and US and India. So I think we all think more globally nowadays, and the marketplace is open for all of us to innovate and make most of our lives. But at the same time, be thankful to the places where we come from or where we live, where we call home. Whether you call it, the like I said to you, the spiritual motherland or the karmic motherland, where you are actually acting and living, and where you have friends and family and the opportunities which are given to you. So I'm immensely grateful to India, where I've grown up, and UK, where I live. But I'm totally a global citizen in the sense of what I do and what I think of as future.
I love that. So what about on a marketing side? What are you generally doing at the moment? What have you found that works for Incepteo, and what have you found that's more difficult, more of a challenge on the marketing side?
I think it's a learning curve. So I was very reluctant marketer, reluctant salesperson. I was trying to do my technical, create my technical like products and outcomes, and then expect the world to buy, and it didn't happen, obviously. But majority of the founders find it that initial couple of years of sales and traction is created through your personal networks, and then they slowly dilute and die down. And I had to wake up and start to be out and about and start to learn, and those initial awkward networking moments, and should I shake the hand or should I say hello first? But I think eventually you will learn, and it's fabulous talking to people. We are, social beings end of the day. So I do quite a bit of networking. That's fundamental to me. I travel abroad as well, both US and Europe and Asia. However, the kind of establishing channels, I think every business has to find its own channels that work for that business and offering and the market they are operating in. I think for us, it is more in-person type of channels, building networks and meeting people and referrals and all that. However, we also are part of various directories where we are recognized and placed, and we also do some kind of inbound exercise where we are spreading the word and creating awareness. And we didn't do much of outbound so far. But I think we are going to kind of focus more on types of webinars and where you can create value and provide something to the prospect and help them and give them value, and then they see and recognize and they reach out to you. I think when it comes to products, it is very different. Some products work on paid marketing, social media. Some products work on simply, your blogs, not recently, but, 5-6 years ago, blogs used to do wonders. Some products need a sales team. So whether it is product led or marketing led or sales led, depending on what it is offering and the kind of audience you have. I think that is a very important distinction. You have to really be aware of what type of company you are trying to build. And I think I was a little bit confused. And in the last few years, that's one thing that I was trying to, in every entity that we are building, or sometimes buying, and we are trying to identify whether it is a primarily product-led company, or primarily marketing-led company, or primarily sales-led, then we know we're going to double down on that approach and focus. So that's what we do now. And I think that we should do more. We should be talking to the world more podcasts, I guess, and more interactions and forums. And I think it's an evolutionary learning process. Marketing is always.
I guess you'll find as well with the different type of products and services, like you say, they're marketed or sold in different ways, but also the lead time to getting a sale it can vary different from an impulse purchase on something to, a year-long negotiation and evaluation and scope. It's again, depending on what it is, that can hugely affect the type of content you do as well.
I think service businesses, I feel, and I've done that to some good degree, is productizing your services is going to make life easier for both the prospect and ourselves. If we have to write a proposal for everything, and there's a lot of negotiation and understanding each other, it creates a huge kind of time lapse in a way. You just the lead time overall from initial conversation to closing the deal can be many months. However, if we productize it and create some kind of, AI based or whatever online engines, and that's where we are heading. We are trying to create online estimators for all our services, and so that user can get the prospect can get a very quickly brief on what it would cost and timeline and how it will be approached. A bigger picture of the relationship and the outcomes. If they get it in few minutes or hour, a couple of hours, with some manual oversight, then it can cut down the amount of time we take to navigate through the process. I think productizing service is a big buzzword that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, I think you can set an expectation of the deliverables as well, can't you? At that level, and even the price as well. Depending on how transparent you want to be up front.
Packaging,
you can get straight in. Yeah, putting into packages. I know that's what we do at Playfair with our content levels. We package it up now because it's just easier, and we actually, rather than saying, "Oh, we'll just do this kind of stuff or work this many hours," it's like, no, this is the actual stuff you'll get. This is this is the actual content and the actual frequency of posting it. So there's no kind of grey area. It's like, okay, we pay this amount, we get this much content, it goes out on this frequency. And you can. It's a lot easier to just start off on the right foot, and you're a lot closer at the beginning of the conversation, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the more we qualify and explain our approach and values and methodology as well, the more our customers understand, because sometimes they can't differentiate between three vendors. They have three different prices, and they don't know how to judge it. So it's important to, obviously for us to succeed, we need to believe and practice and develop expertise with certain value system and certain process and methodologies or approaches, and then put enough effort in explaining that to the audience, to the world, and the prospects. And then I think, if you make it quicker and packaged and so that they can understand what they get and how much they need to spend and timeline, etc. But at the same time, you also explain them how we are unique and what is our approach and methodology and why we believe we can deliver the job we want to. So I think that's very important to combine that, the speed and detail.
Mm. Well, I mean, you've given so much advice in this interview. So I guess my final question specifically for this episode is what would be the one biggest piece of advice or most important piece of advice that you would give to another business owner?
Yeah, no, I guess I made many, many mistakes. So there's a lot to share, but I think the one big advice is have a mentor. Have a coach. There's a lot of coaching ecosystem. Try one coach. You don't have to have same coach forever. Obviously, you will have a coach and you will develop some relationship so that you may become friends. So then, the coaching may get diluted. It's nothing wrong in having, different coaches and, rotation basis, or you keep moving to different person, but have a coach. It's really, really important to have somebody who's going to have that empathy and understanding and who's going to listen to you, but at the same time, ask questions and probe things and make you think, double think, because gut feel is the biggest friend, but also enemy for all of us as kind of founders. So I think having a coach, asking that practical questions is very, very important. And at the same time, as you grow, have a CEO, CFO. That's very, very important as well. Those are the biggest kind of learnings.
I guess on the coach side, it's someone to be accountable to as well, because it's very easy.
Absolutely.
When you're suddenly not accountable to anybody, you kind of have this freedom to do what you want. And like you say, that can be a mistake.
Absolutely.
Really enjoyed the conversation, CK. This was a great episode. We've run on for a good 45 minutes plus, but I think there's so much value in the conversation and loads of advice. So thank you so much for joining us. Really enjoyed it.
No, absolutely. Thank you. These sessions are almost like a journey back in time and also reflecting into future. So it helps both ways as well. So lovely talking to you. Thank you very much.
Really appreciate you joining us. And thank you everybody for watching or listening to the show. Please like, share and subscribe. And most importantly, stay content in your business.